저는 다른 팀들이 잘해줄 거라 믿고 있기 때문에 저희 팀만 잘하면은 문제 없을 것 같아요.
说就是这几年国际赛成绩都不太好，可是我们一定会拿下胜利。
LPL이 그래도 이제 LMS랑 베트남 팀 상대로는 다 전적이 좋기 때문에 딱히 걱정하는 부분은 없어요.
Chúng tôi đội tuyển Việt Nam chúng tôi đã có sự chuẩn bị rất là kỹ càng và các bạn phải coi chừng đó.
딱히 해줄 말이 없긴 한데 승리는 가져갈 수 없을 겁니다. 결승전으로 가는 것은 LPL이 될 것입니다.
就是我觉得当选手就是最重要就是赢下比赛，没有什么事情是比赢下比赛更开心的事情，所以无论今天对手是谁，我都要想办法赢下来。
Bọn em sẽ cố gắng hết sức là làm theo đúng chiến thuật đề ra để có thể có được kết quả tốt khi mà gặp Nam Quân.
这次我将会拿下你的。
잘해야죠. 네, 보여줘야 되니까. LMS나 VCS도 뭔가 되게 자기의 색깔을 아직 보여주지 못하신 것 같고 그냥 플레이는 좀 재밌게 해야 된다 생각하는 저는 그런 주의거든요. 꼭 결승 올라가서 LCK랑 좋은 경기 나눠보도록 할게요.
When pain is set in your face and you're at the bottom, and the darkness of the night is moving on you. Oh, when the fears ruins walk away or alive at the surface, who are you leaning on? Who are you leaning on? And when the worst you can imagine feels like it's coming, who are you leaning on? Is it him or you leaning on?
Rift Rivals 2019.
Welcome everybody, we are back here at Rift Rivals 2019, the Eastern region. I am Valdez, with me are two very young gentlemen, Papa Smithy as well as Razzleplasm. Gonna be my first TriCast. This is gonna be a lot of fun. We're doing LPL versus the LMS and VCS. How are you guys doing today?
Doing damn well. I mean, sadly, of course, being able to put ourselves in the semifinals, that's something you shouldn't feel happy about. But after the last game of the group stage of IG being able to take down SKT, there's a lot of hope here for the LPL.
But for you, it's just a glimmer, right, Raz? Yes,
okay,
IG beat SKT, but I'm sure you're sitting there surprised that the LPL is playing in this matchup. I think everyone assumed it would be LCK versus LMS. We think we know how today is going to go, but we thought we knew how the tournament would go.
Yeah.
And so far, the script a little bit off. Would you be surprised by anything other than a 3-0 to the LPL today? And would that also rattle you? Because, you know, China right now, listening to analysts, myself, you included, we came in really high on the LPL. And yes, it's a couple of best of ones. What business needs to happen today for you to actually kind of be confident?
Clean performances. I think the draft should be incredibly important. I know a lot of people are talking about how, like, what changed from 9.11 to 9.13. Priorities of champions that we saw nearly every game in the LPL, being Rise and Silas, have now changed in priority. So that's something that we need to be seeing in changes from FPX in particular.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do see the standings so far. LCK, as we did mention, only taking one loss. That was the last game of the group stage. SKT going down to IG, and you can see LPL there in the middle. Had to play today up against LMS and VCS, who have yet to win a game.
We had a small loss as well, of course. LS was scheduled to be on the caster desk today, but unfortunately hasn't pulled up well from yesterday, so will not be joining us. But we do get the LPL representation for this match, so that part is a little sliver there. Now, also point of business, not the first time we have had LPL versus LMS in the semifinal.
Yes.
2 years ago, the first Rift Rivals in Kaohsiung, it was in fact this matchup. LPL came in as 3rd seed on that day after 2-6 in the group stage, went on to win the whole damn thing. That was a 5-game series between LPL and LMS. It is today LPL versus the LMS and VCS United team, and unfortunately, the only real business to discuss on the LMS VCS side is, can they win a single game at Rift Rivals 2019?
Yeah, has been a bit of a mark on their record so far, and you can see they're going to throw out the Flash Wolves here. Flash Wolves having a pretty decent game. We saw yesterday, you and I, Raz, were casting that one up against IG, had a very good start. They're going to be going up against JD Gaming here, Jingdong Gaming, from the LPL. We'll see how they can do for this first matchup.
Yeah, and if we're talking about teams from the LMS and VCS that have the best chance today, it's going to be Dashing Buffaloes and the Flash Wolves. They're the team that also were progressively improving, but improving is not enough. You need to be able to take a win. And if we're just talking about expectations in the tournament, this is technically the best shot you have here. JD were the weakest team coming in if we're just talking about from the LPL teams. And Flash Wolves simply just need to be able to keep the leads. Enzo, for me, has been a good performer working alongside Rather, but whenever they have those leads, they tend to fumble it because they don't know what the next point of focus should be.
And your hope is that when it comes to pick bans, Flash Wolves know what to target. I know you and I were talking about this. If you get the right bans, if you take away some of those picks, Jingdong might fall apart a bit. Let's listen to Flawless and his thoughts on the match.
한국에서 거라서 좀 긴장이 많이 됐었는데 그냥 하면서 많이 적응한 것 같아요. 이렇게 완벽하진 않지만 완벽해지려고 많이 노력 중이기 때문에 많은 응원 부탁드립니다.
Yeah, so good to hear from him there. Just a couple of words coming into this matchup from Flawless. We'll see how he does do coming into this matchup.
We won't even see him, and I think that's going to be the surprise. While Flawless is coming out, making that statement, we're actually going to be seeing the Griffin Lone of Kanavi coming into the jungle. But to round out the lineup, Zoom in the top lane, Yagao in the mid lane, Imp and Lu Mao rounding out the bot side. But Kanavi is going to be a surprising one.
And it's a really exciting one for even LCK fans who knew this guy was around, went on to op.gg, looked at the top 10, you'd always see the name Kanavi, and you're like, wait, who's he? You'd check his role. Oh, he's a jungler. Never mind. We're always going to see Tarzan playing. Cool that Kanavi's gone over. He's actually going to be playing today, which is super, super hype. Only a single game from the records there. Seems like it wasn't a notable performance, so in front of a home crowd, it'd be really cool to see him make his name.
Yeah, definitely interesting to have him come up against Flash Wolves and their standard lineup, Hanabi, Enzo, Rather, Betty, and Xiaozi coming in here. Same thing we saw yesterday, Raz.
And I just want to see the jungle focus be a point, because to your point about Kanavi, the big issue that we saw in that one game of performance and their reason why they went back to Flawless was simply communication. JD as a team went through quite a few junglers. I'm just referring to when Clid left, they tried a few out. They had Levi in the lineup as well. But the reason why they set with Flawless has been in China for quite some time, has been integrated with Chinese teams, and they really stuck with him because, A, he's a great early game bridge in the team, so his style is well known, and he understands the lineup that he has in front of him, and that's been the major issue that they've had with Kanavi. It's going to be a good opportunity to be able to see him play.
And it might give us some kind of scientific experimentation on the chicken and the egg. Because are JDG that way because they're used to Flawless? And if you replace them with a different style, because Kanavi could evolve to be different, to say Clid, for example, and Flawless, what could the team become with a different look?
Yeah, it'll be cool to see what Kanavi can do. We've seen a lot of other players from the LCK come out behind the starters and actually become great starters on their own teams. But we are going to be jumping into the pick ban right away for JDG versus the Flash Wolves.
Going up against JDG, if you are prepping for them, it's very easy what they've been picking out. They have very focused picks here. I mean, you look towards Imp. The Kaisa has been just the only AD carry he's been playing, and in the LPL playoffs, teams just target bandits, so that's a big focus. Of course, also the Fiddlesticks for Lu Mao.
The thing that really kind of leaps off the page is if the bot lane gets going, JD Gaming get going. So if they can get one of those good ranged matchups like you mentioned on the Fiddlesticks, you definitely know that Lumao will try to fish for it. The Nautilus priority this tournament, it started with a FLICKR Freaks in the LCK. We're like, okay, first picking Nautilus, that seems a bit bold. It is rising up in priority again and again, both at this tournament and on patch 9.13 so far. By the way, guys, point of discussion, we are on patch 9.13, Mordekaiser and Kiana global banned, otherwise everything open.
Yeah, and you will notice we talked about this one big pick, the Jungle Silas. You know, we're here on 9.13.
First round, huh?
Yeah, coming out here being banned right away.
That's been the biggest change of red side bans have been, you know, coming into the tournament, we expected Sejuani to just be instantly banned on red side every game, but that's been changed since, you know, Silas has been the counter towards the Sejuani. You're able to have, look, scale alongside it, have the ultimate to be able to snag from her.
But something has to slide if you're banning Nautilus, if you're banning Talia, Ashe. The blue side bans in general are fishing for OP champs, at least by 9.12, 9.11 standards. We talked about Lumao on a range support. If you're talking enchanters, you don't get much stronger in lane, even after the small nerf to the Yuumi. So the Yuumi is a really big pickup here. It's at the cost of traditional OPs like Sejuani. I know the Nico priority in the LPL and other regions super high and evolving to be that in the LCK. So something's got to give. And the first pick on the Yuumi is the something that's got to give.
Yeah, but it looks like what JD's trying to do is just get counter-picked towards Flawless, Flash Wolves matchups here, because while you have the Yuumi, Lux is such an easy counter pick there. So what they're just trying to do here is give Kanavi the best matchup, knowing that perhaps the jungle must be picked up. But, you know, the Nico is what they're responding to.
And I think counter's a little bit strong. The Lux is going to be hovered, not locked in just yet. It is very good at negating some of those annoying Q trades.
Yes.
But if you gank that Lux one time and put her on the back foot, then Yumi's getting free harass, and she doesn't care about Flash. Doesn't even take it on the Yuumi side. So there is ways to play around it. And Flash Wolves, they'll even hold their horses a little bit. The bullet hell duo, we've already seen it in the LCK. We're loving it in this tournament as well. I played all those shmups back in my day, 1942 and Galaga and all those things. We're not going to get it this time, but I still love it.
Yeah, they are going to move away from the Lucian, pick up the Kai'Sa here, just look for a little bit less lane presence and maybe towards the team fighting later on in the game.
Has ultra comfort on it. Now I would focus towards what the possible mid lane picks would be for Yagao, simply because with so many of the first pick rotation like Silas mid, being taken away in 9.11 going into this one, Ryze is a big option too. You know, he's been going back to Zoe and Jace, and so those are the two champions I would expect him to focus on, but going into the second phase, might be banned away by Flash Wolves.
And it is worth knowing that that was kind of one of the unsaid things about the LPL struggling a little bit in the best of ones in the first 2 days is the jump from 9.11 to 9.13, the skip over of 9.12 that we have for a couple of weeks in Korea, was a pretty rough one. That's a patch where a lot changed, where Silas, where Ryze were largely removed or changed in a significant way, and it changed draft a lot in Korea, and it's something that China is a little bit behind on. The Renekton is something they were way ahead on.
Yes.
Gonna be locked in. We don't know for sure that it's gonna be top lane. If it is top lane, you can add a jungle Elise and get a lot of power. Renekton Elise feels like every meta is gonna be relevant if you want to camp top lane. Had one jungle ban so far from Flash Wolves, they might consider another one.
But they'll still get the strategy down type because, you know, Rek'Sai is still available, the Elise that you already mentioned. They're a team that still plays to Zoom quite heavily. You saw the tent that was placed towards Nuguri, in the top esports game, and the same, like a similar style towards topside exists within the LPL.
But it's very interesting. My question on the side of Flash Wolves is the Nico so far has largely been a top lane pick. Hanabi a couple, single pick to rather when we're talking about the LMS stage. So if you notice the GP ban, they're kind of relieving pressure from the Renekton. If it does end up being the Nico, it's a little bit better than kind of the horror matchup we had yesterday for Khan on the Camille. Renekton is just more robust in the early game, but it's still range versus melee. And if you can keep your distance, good things usually happen.
Yeah, so we are going to move on from the second phase of bans. You can see a couple of junglers there on the right side of the Flash Wolves, as well as the Olaf taken away. Flash Wolves looking to jump on a jungler here and leave that Nico question for the flex still available.
So far, trying to apply pressure when it comes to early priority, the Rek'Sai with a lot of bans so far. Definitely was sticking out, 67% win rate, but only a couple of games played so far. JDG looking to round out a combo. Gragas Yasuo opens, always deserves some lip service, but Gragas himself, the big man, has been just a priority jungle pick. Makes extra sense with all the bans.
Yeah, and JD have been finding success with just outright pick compositions. Their mid game has been strong as of late with a 3-series win streak within the LPL before coming to the event. So the Gragas makes a lot of sense. Now focus towards Yagao because as I already mentioned, the two champions being both the Jace and the Zoe, great poke opportunities that you have, so can make it so they can just focus on Siege once they get priority in lanes.
And that's one of the small surprises that Zoe isn't going to be banned in this game after a great performance last time at Yagao was that super hard carry. And they're going to opt into physical damage solo laners. Now, the Kai'Sa has most commonly been AP in this tournament, so there's definitely going to be the Gragas and the Kai'Sa probably holding the line there. Flash Wolves with full information. They're going to be picking for top or mid at this final pick. They have the flexibility. Looks like it's going to be the Kennen for Hanabi.
All right. I like the Akali hover because one thing that really made it difficult for JD when they went up against Griffin was, you know, Imp wasn't able to pick up side lane waves going up against the multiple assassins from both Akali and the Talon. The assassin in the side lane would really make it so Imp would fall behind and would have to pick up, you know, dual experience and all that mid lane.
But I'm going to hold my judgments on the comps 5v5 now because the question of is it press the attack or is it AP is so relevant for Flash. I saw the Kennen and I thought, oh boy, we're team fighting. If we fall behind, we're going to have some struggles. We won't even get to fights. It could also be the on-hit. The Shy brought back the on-hit Nico to great effect yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely have to wait and hold our horses and just see exactly what the runes are going to be coming into this one. As we mentioned before, we're really setting the stage here for this first matchup. The LMS and VCS regions still looking for their first win, whereas JDG want to continue here and get it started strong for the LPL.
Yeah, and one thing I want to see from JDG, once they get into the mid game, how do they start those fights? With the Yuumi available and the Renekton in the top lane, it's a hyper focus on Kanavi now. Communication issues have been rampant for him when he started out for the team, and now he's going to be the point of focus to get the fights going.
What a big stage to have that re-debut, looking for that first victory, and if it's not a victory, the question marks will begin. So let's start off this best of 5. We think we know how today will go. Anything off script, and suddenly the tournament's thrown up in the air.
Could be very exciting as well if the Flash Wolves could come in here strong for game number 1. But you guys saw the screens already. Looks like we're all loaded up. Let's jump into game number 1 right now. Well, here we go, guys. Big chant, as always, for all the LPL teams that have been coming out here. And, well, it's definitely interesting to see Ding Dong Gaming coming out here first. And we'll see what they can do on this already, getting a little bit aggressive on the invade at level 1.
Already scouted on awards. They were aware there were so many people bought. So I'm going to have a quick pause to start the day.
But I love the fact that we're able to get that kind of vision before we got into the pause. Whenever there's a Yuumi team, if it's Yuumi, Olaf, Kai'Sa, doesn't matter. Early level 1 invades are fairly easily placed down. So you can get the early vision so you can see where the jungler end up pathing if he starts bot side anyway. So it's going to be a good early advantage for JD if that's the case.
And Papa got what he wanted because we got to see the Keystone coming through from the Kennen. It's going to be the Kleptomancy, so it's going to be the AP Kennen on that. Sounds like there's a lighting issue going on, so it seems like a bit of glare. It's getting some little things. That's a good thing to get sorted. We don't want to have anyone not being able to see their screen, to see the gray that comes in later, potentially. But without going for press the attack. So my first thought was, if it's not press the attack, this comp from the side of Flash Wolves will struggle in the late game to come back. You very much won't be able to have real agency on the game if you blow all your flashes and can't actually get your farm on. A team fight comp does struggle to kind of flip the script and get back in unless the enemy makes mistakes. But then I thought about it longer, and remember, Flash Wolves comes in way out of form, 7th out of 7th in the LMS. And yes, while they had a pretty good game yesterday, you can look at Flash Wolves champions, Sivir, Nico, Kennen, almost 2 Nikos or 2 Kennons, given how similar Ken and Nico as champs.
Yes.
You can say easy to execute. If you know how strong you are, it is very easy to execute Flash Wars comp because you all press your ults and you hope for the best.
But it depends, right? It depends on how good the vision control is. If, you know, Hanabi or Rather can get that flank, fairly flash reliant too, or hoping that Xiaoxi can get a double binding.
I'm just saying, if the alternative is 1-3-1 comp with
Yes.
a mixed language roster and a team that's not doing very well, we've seen Jin Air try it. We don't love to see that. We want to see the easy comps from the teams who aren't in great form. And sadly for Flash Wolves, a very proud name that does include Flash Wolves as of today.
And it's interesting, you know, you talked about the first game we had yesterday where they did go up against IG. They certainly put on a good performance, but now they got to do it once again, and they actually have to get a win and get off to a good start.
With the early vision that Kanavi has of blue, what's possible is going to be, you know, possible vertical jungling. I want to see if that's ever a possibility here, simply because Imp and Lumao have good control in the lane starting it out. So if they get the first push on Betty and Xiaoxi, that could be the look here.
Yeah, the big takeaway for people at home is going to be that there were 3 buffs that were warded by JDG, and Flash Wolves have no advanced vision, so the Gragas can go for the selfish 3-camp clear bot side and not lose his blue buff, or be in position to steal away the enemy blue. So it guarantees Gragas a safe enough early game. No surprise that the lane with Yuumi, first picked in this game, is going to have priority as of level 1. Lux gets going when she gets all 3 skills.
Yeah, for now, just shielding up, trying to survive. That's really just the name of the game. You guys talked about in pick ban how that Lux is going to be very strong, at least at negating some of that power in the lane from that Yuumi. We take another look at the top side. You were talking about the Camille versus the Nico yesterday. Now it's a bit of a similar one with the melee Renekton up against the Kennen up there. We'll see how Zoom can do in a rough matchup.
Thankfully, as the Renekton, you kind of have everything to be strong in this matchup, and obviously you either just dominate melees or you're the best of the choices of melee lane bullies when it comes to ranged opponents. You have a bit of sustain, you do have, if the minion wave is around, a lot of gap close, and on-command targeted CC is never to be trifled with. If your jungler chooses the right time and it's pro play, you got the perfect comms. There is definitely kill pressure onto a squishy cannon.
And take a look at this. Zoom is actually not putting himself into trade range, recognizing that it is going to be a vertical jungling, so he doesn't put himself into dive possibility. So clearly pretty well done from Zoom, but of course he's going to be in a pretty large CS deficit.
And yet, never turret dive or Renekton. Free advice for people.
Yeah, don't do it.
Especially if he has above 50 rage. He'll get the free double kill and some double buffs if you make the mistake there. So given that Kanavi was naturally pathing over to the enemy blue, just good top laner sense from Zoom. Good luck from him. Bit different from his GP days that I think a lot of people first learned about Jingdong, because we have to kind of remember that Jingdong, most popularly known as his team, that made the Cinderella run after Caps bigged them up as his pick to do well in LCK Spring Run, all the way to the final, then started off pretty soft, and they were, what, 0-3 after the first 2 weeks?
Yes.
It seemed like that the hype train had derailed, and yet, talking to you, there is still a bit more optimism recently about Jingdong and Sam.
Yeah, because they play up during the under the pressure. Going up until this event, remember, having that 3-series win streak. And whenever it comes to JD, I mean, ordinarily, you would look towards Zoom and Flawless, essentially, being the strong points in their weakest moments. But whenever they start up, they're actually fairly unexpected. Who comes out ahead? It's usually Imp and Lumao. Great mid-game that they're able to come out, really not getting the resources from their jungler, but being able to get 2v2 kills.
So as a question then, it's maybe have to hold that as Kanavi can walk up top, probably mostly for pressure here. I feel like I know what a Jingdong victory looks like. I was alluding to it earlier. If bot lane is way ahead, Imp's going to carry, we're going to get over the line. What's a Jingdong kind of definite loss? Like, what's a state they find it very hard to get back from?
Simply losing out lanes and not having any ways to impact it. That's been the problem.
Might have to cut you off there, Kanavi. Deep in the jungle, going to be found up by the Tremor Sense, and he is all but dead here. First blood going to be given over there to Hanabi. Great read by the side of the Flash Wolves.
Yeah, the call was nice and early on the side of the Flash Wolves, and they come down and contest him. The camp respawn timer was clear, and the moment they were decisive on it, Zoom, he had a minion wave. That was his first priority, and Hanabi had a really long leash to walk over, help his jungler, and just profit from the first blood.
missed the context on this one, but they saw him going in towards the Krug camp. Thought that he was out of vision, but unfortunate, Hanabi's going to be able to catch you alongside Enzo.
And you're not even going to have the benefit of kind of time on your hands when the Tremor Sense is there to spot you nice and early. You can very decisively park over the wall. Kanavi, we talked about how it's only his second game on a mixed language roster here on Jingdong Gaming, replacing Flawless, who's sitting out this game. No public words on to why, but unfortunately for him, is caught out. It's not the end of the world. He is on the scaling pick. Rek'Sai, yes. We always focus on how much work did she get done in kind of the first 15 minutes, the turret plates phase of the game. It is still, as we can say, a mistake from the side of Jingdong.
But the question that you asked is really happening, right? The point about if they lose, like, what does it look like? Oftentimes finding themselves in CS deficits, they rely on their jungler to be, early game points of pressure. A gank coming through mid lane or bottom lane to be able to get them steering ahead. Because when they ordinarily pick, really, the only one that has a positive matchup would be top lane. And even then, he would be rotating pretty consistently. They would be moving, rotating towards other lanes to see if they can find a fight. And if it doesn't happen, if the enemy team has enough vision to be able to catch it out, then they'll just be naturally losing out in the lanes.
And this game, at least Yagao has a pretty good matchup in mid, right, against the Nico. As Jace, you're going to be pretty reliably able to just farm away. And bot side's been winning in the 2v2 early, so that part is nice. But
exactly.
I kind of agree with you. That's what I've noticed, a pretty similar trend there. At least Gragas has the benefit of not 3 losing lanes around him, so he'll try to farm it up. He'll try to salvage things, but for now, at least, we're very much in a lull state here. Nice CS from Imp so far, 76 already.
One thing I want to point out is the nice, teleport award behind Imp and Lumao. It could be really handy for Hanabi, especially since he's post 6. He needs to get a good shove out in lane, especially, communicating well with Enzo, who's bot side of the map. Imp and Lumao are actually playing really respectfully here, so that might not come to fruition. They might be able to even catch the control ward sitting in the bush.
They're running around Kanavi pretty well here. This is the lane where they had priority bot side, right? You can tell from the CS numbers, but Flashwell's going to get free access to this. Gragas on the top side is going to reveal himself, but the Drake might just be dead.
Yeah, Gragas coming all the way down from the top river. They see him coming all the way, and the smite will be there at 2 health. We've seen that before, but it looks like after getting that Mountain Drake, the Flash Wolves, you mentioned the lack of priority, but they make the objective happen anyway.
Great control wars just surrounding the, the dragon. Both mid lane and bot side was just warded up, so they didn't even have an idea that it was happening. So by the time Kanavi got there, 2 HP on the dragon.
And it's a really good read by Flash Wolves because, yes, it is against the expectation. It's not where they usually had priority. This Nam's going to take a love tap, we'll say, from Zoom. The reason why I want to talk about it being a nice proactive move is it's at 8 minutes, so there is no objective on the top side that you can take for free. There's no counter Rift Herald available when you just invest everyone at a precise timing. They knew Kanavi was top side. They got a free objective for it and no trade possible. Only now does Kanavi walk up, and all it's going to do is zone Hanabi for the start.
And so in the right place at the right time, and clear comms catching out Yagao moving top side. This is usually the play that JD relies on to get their leads going for themselves, but already Flash Wolves are prepared for the day.
Exactly. Enzo's in position. It's so obvious because the play on bot side has to be countered by a cross-map play. So Rek'Sai in position.
Holy
moly!
Lumao taking a giant trade, but they've blown all their mana. You can see him trying to get in there, but he can't quite do it. That exhaust very late as well. The TP's coming in now. Betty not in the best of spots, trying to make an escape, and he gets a kill on the backside even. And Zoom here also TP in, wants to make it happen. 1v3, Yagao a little bit far behind. Lumao gotta heal him up, give him that speed here. The Zoomies coming on in, and they want to dunk onto Hanabi as well, but Zoom's gonna go down on the backside. So much death and destruction here in this fight.
What a great response by Flash Rolls. I mean, the teleport came through from Zoom, but who would have expected Betty to be able to get a response kill in that position?
JDG was so panicked in that play. It seemed like they were being super duper reactive after 2 health bars were almost donated to Flash Wars 100-0. Let's go through the replay because a lot happens here. First, everything lands. This is the old Lux, AP Lux state of hit everything, one shot. Miss anything, not possible. The cat is already out, and then Imp gives up his whole health bar trying to buy time for Yagao and Zoom.
Great response teleport as well. Yagao coming in just to help Imp. But remember, he doesn't have mana off the back of this, so he has to fully commit to get the auto attack, even ignites to get the kill on Sivir. So Sivir expending quite a bit of resources there.
And the minimap is interesting because this whole time, Rek'Sai gets to farm, and yes, Gragas does pack up to try to join, but Gragas doesn't get there. So Flash Wolves are able to trade out more than you expect, and Zoom did not think he would die at the end.
Out of all of that, the big winner was still Yagao. 2 kills off this one play alone, so he's going to be coming back into the lane where he had a CS deficit to begin with.
You know who's not coming back to bot lane? Apparently the duo lanes. They're running straight at Rift Herald. It spawns at 10 minutes. This is the new meta. Got to fight for that Rift Herald as fast as possible.
And you can see that the Flash Wolves, they know this is happening. They don't exactly have much vision on it, but they can see them coming on in there. They had to rotate Zoom on over. He doesn't have TP, so they're going to try to trade a couple of turret plates over to Hanabi in the bottom side.
And let's vocalize the points that we held off on, not knowing which Kennen rune we're seeing. If you can keep up in the game in terms of gold on the side of Flash Wolves, you have a very reliable teamfight comp. They may not be picking up the Rift Herald now, but they're getting gold onto Hanabi. They're ahead in gold. This is not a game that Flash Wolves is just an unwilling passenger on. They're actually in a comfortable spot, and we might have a very even game number 1.
You can see what the Flash Wolves are doing. They're just rotating everyone down into the bottom side here. They want to get that first blood turret, even though Jingdong were able to get that Rift Herald.
They got the Rift Herald, but they didn't jam it, Raz. They're really holding on to it. Again, unsure about the communication there. But first turret against the Rift Herald.
Yeah, not only Kanavi going to clear a camp, but at the same time, it's more of a credit to Flash Wolves because they fixed the wave while it was all happening. Fully pushed the top lane wave into the tower while they were making the move to the bot side, so it's finally coming out.
Gonna have to be a defensive move here. Don't want to give up 2 turrets after taking the first turret down, but there's a lot of guerrilla warfare happening. Kennen stealing away a red buff under their noses. JDG aren't going to be following up this play here, so it's not a big gold lead by any means, but if Sivir comps are up 500-600 gold, definitely can't be too worried. And the Flash Wolves development just over this tournament after being what? Kind of dictated to by SKT on day 1. It's kind of been clear for everyone to see.
Yeah, them having a better performance versus Invictus Gaming, and also talking about the Dashing Buffalo's performance to follow up versus Griffin, those really, it made it clearer to me that they were improving to a rate where I was happier, you know, being able to commentate them on today's games.
I mean, it's tricky. I'm with you, Rats. I mean, unfortunately, the LMS is 0 and 8 alongside the VCS, right? So you're trying to find kind of silver linings.
Anything.
But you're not. But you're also trying to be genuine, trying to be legitimate. So it's nice to genuinely say that Flash Wolves have made some good moves here. I like how they attack the very predictable Rift Herald start from JDG. They've gotten a lot of gold onto their cannon, and you picked the wrong team fight. Even with Jace, Renekton, really early spike champions against double pen proto belt flash up cannon, you're going to be exploded.
We'll see if they can actually make that happen. We talked about it before. I think Raz mentioned how the Flash Wolves, they can get a good early game down. They can get ahead even. Then they struggle a little bit in the mid game, and some of their macro aspects can kind of fall to the wayside. So now with another Drake up, I wouldn't be surprised to see more fighting here. Let's see what happens.
A good thing to Flash Wolves' composition with both the Nico and the Sivir is that they're always going to be fine in wave clear. Wave clear is not going to be an issue as long as Betty's in the right position. So all of the movement that JD is having here, there should still be a good point to be contesting for Dragon. In this case, don't know about this, he has teleport, but I don't think you want to be spending the 4 seconds to be able to be there for the fight.
It was really good minion wave management from JDG. Just the fact that that was the option they had with Hanabi's teleport and Radha's teleport down. Didn't want to give up minions, end up giving up a free Cloud Drake. JDG could potentially look for more. Zoom starting it off.
They're looking for it. You can see Imp is right there. The double pen is available though, and the stun up to Imp. He has to flash away, and the flash away from that one on the Yuumi. Somehow he's able to get away.
Hanabi's living a charmed life, but JDG were just trying to give the kill to him, but trying too hard. And it's another meanwhile axe situation, and back at the ranch, they're taking top lane turret.
Well, it doesn't get closer than that, as you can see that they were able to take the bottom side at least, but an answering turret in the top side by the Flash Wolves.
Just want to see what we get up here. Of course, the gold, turret plating gold, bot side. I think it went towards Betty on that one, so it's nice to be able to see Flash Wolves coming up ahead, especially this play coming in from Hanabi. Not only does he fully clear the wave, the ultimate to stun down Imp while he's taking turret aggro there.
It's very strange for Zoom to completely disengage that hard early unless he's 110% sure that Im's going to burst him down. Yes, it's a burst build when you go down the Muramana into the Rage Blade route, but the Mana Mune's not fully cashed in. The Cannon's ahead of the play. That's a 0-2 Cannon, sure, but they kind of tried to be cool guys, don't look at explosions to zoom, and it almost exploded on the side of JDG.
I mean, we saw it the last time, you know, when Kanavi was caught in the jungle. They didn't waste any time blowing double flash. The Flash Wolves at least says, I'm going to have to hold that. They found Yagao, and they put him in his grave as he was just going for a walk in the enemy jungle.
Another hole in communication. Kanavi was there, but wasn't alongside him. Just another death there. At least he held on to Flash.
Now, no ult here, so can't get the full value out of his item just yet. Gonna walk away here. Spear Shojin, TFT favorite, a Renekton favorite as well. Doesn't have the ultimate. The perma-stun you can get from Spear Shojin Renekton is disgusting. But for now, at least, we'll have to hold on to that.
Yeah, Renekton has to rotate here just in case the siege comes across from Flash Wolves. But them being able to find those picks, a lot of it comes down to the defensive wards they had in their red side of the jungle. Right now, Flash Wolves been on top alongside Enzo. So Enzo having a fantastic performance to start this game off.
And it just feels like JDG are trifling with them a little bit. We saw the turret dive play. That was clear. Yagao went on a merry walk, Dora the Explorer, through the enemy jungle with no vision or priority. Got killed. If you don't have vision and the enemy has a Rek'Sai, then you're taking just too many liberties for me. So JDG need to take a deep breath, step back, understand that yes, they are in a decent position in this game. But so are Flash Wolves, and again, on paper, and it doesn't always go this way, but on paper, I see a lot of AoE wombo on the side of Flash Wolves.
I'll have to put that to the test when it does come down to these team fights, but so far it's been a lot of, trading turrets and trying to go for dives and little pickoffs like we saw to Yagao. Finally, Dingdong are grouping up here in the mid lane, but as you mentioned, Raz, they have wave clear for days on the other side.
But remember, there's a teleport ward up and available. Hanabi's going to be comfortable where he is right now, just in case.
Minion wave to pick up on the top side, so the ARAM play will abate. Flash Wolves are very well suited, as you're alluding to, Valdez, for the ARAM. They're very happy to sit there and wave clear and wait out for their time. And so far, they've been on more on point around vision than the side of JDG. So you want Renekton in that side lane applying pressure. You want Jace taking down turrets. But speaking of taking down turrets, Flash Wolves are the ones walking up now.
Yeah, already on it. The only point of concern I had with Flash Wolves' composition is if they could get the setup so the Kennen and the Nico could find that great, ultimate engage that we're looking for. But, I mean, their teleport ward placements already, this is the third one that I was able to see, have been great just in case the siege is coming through. Compositionally, Flash Wolves have it versus JD.
And JDG are not actually making smart vision plays. They have no control wards on the map and none in the inventory, just the Yuumi, who right now is leashed to Yagao. So they have actually no map vision. Both sides of the mid lane of a Jace Renekton comp are control warded by the Sivir comp. It's very much JDG trying to play straight down a lane, barrel down ARAM style, because they can't afford to go anywhere else.
And it's just straight up not working. I mean, they're trying to push it in every time, and it's like the Jace gets one or two pokes onto the turret, but then all the minions are gone. As we mentioned, you just can't really push into this comp, but they're just going to continue trying it anyway.
It's super bizarre. JDG have to reset. They have no priority anywhere, no vision against a Rek'Sai. Don't often see this at the highest level, but they've already looked a bit nervy today with some of their play, and again, Kanavi coming in kind of compounds that. Just keep it simple, is what we always say. Keep it simple, silly. The kids' strategy is what JDG need to do right now, because they seem rattled, even if the game hasn't gone away from them yet. They still have time.
And speaking of which, this early game has abated. We're already up to our third dragon here. It's going to be another Cloud Drake that it looks like perhaps this time the Flash Wolves are considering taking a fight over.
Yeah, I mean, if JD's Mana Mune stacking and you see, the Sivir build going through. Oh, Betty's out of position here. Just got to watch out for that. Both teams have incentive to just dragon stack and just look to farm up waves for their items. So that's what I'm looking forward to. We might see another Elder Dragon game coming up.
All about those 45-minute games, Raz. They're new to you, but we are veterans here in the LCK. Now, JDG have brute forced and freshly shopped and run at Drake. Flash Wolves, despite having the vision control before, are going to be slow. There's going to be second to it. Will they force a fight here? They're spotting, but JDG already out.
Yeah, you could see Hanabi was considering it up on the top side, but it was just a little bit too little too late, and already Dingdong were on the retreat and able to get out of there.
I think it's fine to be respectful, though. I think Flash Wolves are in a better position than they would expect.
Oh, okay, we're looking for it. The fighting comes down, but Zoom is going to get locked down by Rather. A fantastic follow-up there as the Flash Wolves will get a kill and a turret.
And do they run it Baron is something you could consider. We're post 20 minutes in this particular game. Now, they don't have a vision. They haven't reset for a while, so Flash Wolves, if you look at their lack of control wards, probably have to back away. They choose to do so with a kill and a mid lane out of turret.
They got great bait and pick within their composition, though. If they're able to regain control, Rather, though.
Oh, boy, you can see the burst damage. Kanavi just going to flash on him there as a nice little rotation up to the top side by Yagao and Kanavi.
It's a really smart call from JDG to be proactive now. Whenever you press tab and see the enemy very obviously is late to a shop, go in there and fight them and make them accountable before they have their new slick duds, their new items from the shop. And that was really well done here. Gonna see the replay of how this happened. JDG just catch Zoom on a walk. Gotta say, Flash Wolves have found it very easy to catch the JDG players roaming between lanes. Yagao and Zoom both guilty of it, but Yagao gets to actually return the favor. They find Rather, his ult's down, he's got no chance.
Yeah, typical. They didn't think that they would still be on the map or going proactive, as you would say, after getting a pick on towards Renekton, but just cluing in. Not only did Betty have no mana, but to your point, rest of the members needed to shop at that point.
And now I want to see JDG play to their items, because if it's just 5v5s, honestly, I look at the right side of the screen,
There we go.
the items just look nicer on the side of Flash Wolves. They've got Merlin on Comp Protobelt. That's a team fight build, ready to go for the cannon. They have the Zonias ready for some team fighting, and the Glacial Augment procer in the GLP. Meanwhile, yes, a lot of burst from the build onto him. That's the trade-off there. Don't have the Storm Razor for the 2 evolves. You want to blow one person up, is usually the way this starts. Does have the 2 evolves now with just a freshly stopped Stinger. But then you say, Spear of Shojin, Black Cleaver, that's the solo lane build. The Flat Pen on the Jace, that's for sieging. Can JDG play to their items? Because if they play to a 5v5, I'm loving the Flash Wolves.
I know this game is just going to be a lot more, aggro, a lot more action-packed, just to the point of, item breakpoints being hit by those Jace, Kai'Sa, and of course the Flash Wolves members you've mentioned. This is the time that they feel like they can strike.
Absolutely. So now, once again, Dingdong considering coming down the middle lane here, but that minion wave, you can see how long this mid lane turret is just going to survive. We're at 23 minutes into the game, and it's not even down below half health.
Yeah, the most they can do, as you can see, is Taxi are pushing mid lane into invading the enemy red, which does give them Baron vision. Gao gets an EQ off. It's a nice start onto Xiaoxi and Betty. The shield was a little bit late there from Xiaoxi, not on Tom Kent's duty today. They're walking up, they're posturing, but how much bark is behind this bite?
Ooh. You can see it, okay, the bite comes as they're going for a bit of a dive here, already able to take out Betty, but here's Hanabi from the top side. But a lot of stopwatches come in, and they're all surviving for an incredibly long amount of time, and Dingdong are somehow able to win the fight underneath the cannon ultimate.
That was the setup that we were looking for Flash Wolves, but by the time the cannon teleport comes through, JDG already got the work done with an excellent ultimate from Kanavi.
It's an ultra-decisive play from the side of Dingdong, and it needed to be. It didn't look possible, but they saw something that wasn't there on the enemy side. They're going to start up the Baron, trade tank. This should be a Baron out of nowhere almost for JDG.
It kind of just felt like the Flash Wolves were floundering under their own turret. This is taking forever, by the way. Xiaoxi's going to get in range. Can he actually? Nope. Okay. Smite is going to go the way of Kanavi.
Again, this is a Sivir, a Nico. You don't think a turret dive is possible. The cannon already had started TP behind, but they're proactive, and the cast from Kanavi is really nice. Sivir and also the Kai'Sa are traded at the start. They die first for their teams. The stopwatches are still good, though, between Exhaust and the stopwatches. Hanabi doesn't blow people up. That's one way to get through a game where you don't have the right vision. Get your stopwatches, make it about you, and hit everything perfectly.
Yeah, there we go. You better be happy after that one, because the coordination, just the follow-up from the cask, is something you need to see from a team that's essentially testing Kanavi on those points.
And it's pretty YOLO, Raz, because the last two, they've failed execution on turret dives. This one was almost an all-in. This was very much kind of a cards face-up, I'm going to hit the Royal Flush on this one. They do, and the payoff is massive.
It is quite massive. You pick off a Sivir and you exhaust the cannon and you take that entire team fight strength away from the enemy team. So the execution was there. They're able to pull it off, and that's credit to Jingdong Gaming here. We're going to pick up their third Cloud Drake. We're going to have a really fast Jace in particular in this game.
But now the Cannon and also the Nika will find it harder to wave clear, and the 1-3-1 Renekton and Jace are going to find a lot more purchase on their pushing. They got the appropriate vision down. So the 1-3-1, the ARAM kind of play that we saw, was looking a bit anemic, a little bit sad, but with the Baron, it babies it and makes it a lot stronger.
They're able to just push on in here, and all that wave clear is not going to be enough under this amount of pressure. And down finally does go the mid-tier 1 at 26 minutes.
Yeah, able to put more members up there, able to take down things. We're going to look at the damage dealt to champions in the entire game. Probably the notable one is how much Jace poke has actually landed on the side of JDG.
Yeah, and I think that makes a lot of sense that they're starting to play towards them right now. Actually, take a look at both sides of the jungle. Completely control warded by JDG, so they can just move through mid, go through top if they have the wave rolling for Jace, or go to bot where Renekton has firm control.
And the turrets are falling one by one. The 1-3-1 is incredibly strong here. Yagao just laughing at the turrets right now. Doesn't need any Drakes to make this one quick work, as another one goes down on the top side and the bottom side. Let's see exactly how they want to approach this. We got a nice little wave down on the bottom side, and it's only Rather here.
And they're so staunchly staying to 1-3-1. They do not want to line up for the Flash Wars Wombo. Now the stopwatches are on cooldown. Mid lane goes down too easily. JDG break the base on their first Baron in 2 spots, it looks like.
They're just going to be losing everything at the same time. Betty doesn't have any mana to his name. Hanabi got poked out, has to go back. So that's one inhibitor. You'd expect them to take this bot lane turret and inhib to follow. Getting a base off of, I think Imp is going to teleport back, you'd think.
Well, it's not every day that you see the Baron taken and then everything just fall to pieces like a house of cards. This is just, it's like you're burning the house of cards right now, as every single objective is just being taken off the map in the span of 2 minutes.
This is mass teleporting, no respect for flash rolls. They don't seem to really know if they can fight or not.
I mean, 6,500 gold lead from the Baron. The Baron buff power play is immense this game, and Flash Wolves have done so much good work. We were talking about how narrow the win conditions were for Jingdong. It shows you the one proactive dive at the right time, close 20, and all their early game mistakes slide into what now feels like a vice grip on the first game of the day.
It just felt like 2 minutes ago, Imp was just starting his build into the Rabadon's death cap and nearly has like the entire damn thing built out. This is ridiculous. The poke comp that was focused around Yagao now has Imp who can just burst down members if he can hit them.
And if you're asking what should Flash Wolves have done after losing Baron, it's try to force somewhere. Because unfortunately, if you draft as clear a comp, we mentioned if it's not press the attack, they're 5v5 or bust. If you then fan out to 3 lanes against a Baron when your wave clear doesn't work like it used to, then actually you're just saying, thank you very much, thank you very much, thank you very much. There were donations to JDG's side. There are too many though. They were too generous on the side of Flash Wars, and now, however nice the 5v5 is, it might be too late. The gold lead out of nowhere is a comically large 7,000.
The team fights, the 5v5s you're referring to, they looked a lot better in the mid-game when the gold was a little bit even. Now they're down 3 inhibitors, and now they're down 7,000 gold as the JDG team is just pushing them in right now, already going at the Nexus turrets.
Sewer minions are coming in well coordinated too. Teleport coming in from Kennen.
All right, this is going to be their one try, but look at Enzo. He's already solo, just going to disappear off the map. Hanabi, he's late for work, but it doesn't really matter as they're just going to stun him out of this fight. This game is over. GG here at 29.5 minutes.
I mean, you can hear from the Korean casters as well. Just, I wouldn't say disbelief, but more so just feel like a gut punch. You saw such promising early portions of this game, but it really felt like the moment that Baron play was made, not much Flash Wolves could do.
It's one of those games where you feel more relieved than anything else. This is not the game to jump up and pump your fist up in the air like Doinby for Rogue Warriors and that massive victory over Kingzone 1 year ago at this tournament. Especially the coaching stuff, I'm sure, went very quickly from ripping out their hair to being like, all right, we got the victory. this might be our Rift Rivals done. We come back with a victory. We did not let down the LPL, but they'll know that when the VOD review comes, there's a timestamp where JDG players will want you to start from. Awkwardly, it's about 24 minutes into the game.
Somehow, the entire house of cards just came crashing down in the span of about 5 minutes after that Baron. And once again, it's another game where the Flash Wolves look really good in the early game. You know, they're getting a lot of objectives, playing aggressively and doing things right, you know, up against some of the pressure they had even in the bottom lane, getting the first Mountain Drake, but then just all of a sudden, one team fight goes the opposite way, and it's like they're not even on the Rift anymore.
And realistically, if there was going to be a game that was won, for me, it felt like it was going to be this game for Flash Wolves, because Coach Ohm is known, especially since Spring Split, for throwing in the subs, let's say week 10, the last week before playoffs. They threw in Kanabi here, and he actually played well. Still, Flash Wolves couldn't do too much about it.
Yeah, we're going over the final replay where they just tried to throw a team fight at JDG, but unfortunately for Flash Wolves, it was too late, criminally too late. In this scenario where you lose Baron as a team fight comp, go the Fnatic route, put some control wards in a brush, get somebody, and don't allow yourself to lose 3+ inhibitors in one go.
I felt like there were 2 to 3 moments in which I looked at Flash Wolves and said, I mean, you're on the map when you shouldn't be. Like, proper back timings were in order. Like, when they had, at the very last moment, you know, 3 inhibitors being pressured, there's no purpose for Sivir walking around without her mana.
I think, awkwardly though, for both teams, the kind of like movie title for this is failure to launch. I think JDG were pretty poor to open up the game, but then when it came to when you had to engage, Flash Wolves also didn't press those R buttons. So it was a very interesting first game, both teams feeling each other out. It is a best of 5, a different type of best of 5. These two teams may be done for the day. We're not to know. All we know is we're just about ready to throw it to an interview on the JDG side.
Yeah, we're almost there in just a moment time. I'm going to hand it over to the translator. Let's hear from Imp in the interview.
Victory for LPL on the first semifinals game. We have Imp from JDG. How do you feel about your victory on the first game of the semifinals? No, we came out as first. We believe that we didn't perform as well as we expected. However, we're great that we got the dub, and we hope the other teams within our region to get the rest of the dubs as well. What were the focal points that you guys cared the most? No, the biggest thing was that we just gotta do what we has always been doing and play very well and take the dub. So were there periods where you were anxious or worried about the game? No, we just made a lot of blunders, so we just tried to clean it up as much as possible. How do you feel about participating in the Rift Rivals here in your home soil? No, we haven't been doing too well thus far in this year's Rift Rivals, so we gotta clean up and do better. Now there are still the rest of the series gonna go on. Any words to your LPL brothers? Keep on fighting, boys. That'll be it for the interview. We're gonna come back after a short break. Thank you.
看后面的凯兰，看后面的凯兰。如果凯兰绕后击就打他。看一下前面，看一下前面，看一下前面，看一下前面，看一下前面。你不怕，不用怕，不用怕，不用怕。我给凯兰虚弱，我给凯兰虚弱。
拉个车，
凯兰，
凯兰来不了，凯兰来不了。
这个打。
啊，那미안해요。
easy。
啊，对不起，我的菜。
没事，那就可以。